In this tutorial we're going to look at the iPad application Explain Everything. This is designed for creating videos which are useful for either modelling processes or providing information to students before a task. So let's have a look at how it looks. So this is the main interface, and if we look at the top left there's a document with a plus sign. That will begin a new project. The way Explain Everything works, it likes to use images from the iPad. So the first thing we do then is use the options given us. I'm going to the main camera roll and I'm going to select an image to use on my first slide and then click on Done. You could actually select several. What I tend to do is prefer to put images in as we go. If you don't want to use images, we can always delete this image once it's on our Explain Everything video. So as we can see, it's created one slide. And if we look at the bottom left, we can see we have options to add slides. So imagine it is a PowerPoint that plays in a video format. We also have a wide range of tools on the left hand side, which we'll have a look at some of those as we go through. So let's say this was the image that I'd wanted to use, but I didn't want it to be that size. I can place a finger and thumb on my iPad screen, wide apart, pinch together, and start to move that content around and resize it to where I want it to be. I can then add text using the text tool if I so wanted to, or I could simply record onto this slide using the record button, and that will record any content that I want to be heard over this slide. So I've now pressed the record button. As we can see here is a counter to the right of there, and that means we're recording anything that I'm saying at the moment. And then I press pause and that stopped the recording. If I want to re-record, I can click on the rewind button, which will go back to the beginning. You can see the counter is at 0. This time when I press record, it will give me a message saying, "You sure I want to do this?" because it's going to record over the top of what I already have. So I click on yes, and now that process is recording anything that I want to use. Whilst recording, this button, the circular button that looks like a target, gives us the equivalent of a laser pen. So I can now point to content whilst I'm talking, and Explain Everything records that processes. If I use the pen tool because I want to draw content out or highlight areas, again that content is being recorded as a video live. If I want to play back what I've just listened to, the green play button will do that. Click on yes, and now that process is recording, and that begins to play back what I've just recorded. So we might want to move on to a new part of our video next. I'm going to click the plus button in this slide sorter area here. That creates a new slide. If I use the plus and a square icon, I can add content. I can include an existing video or photo. It's usually useful just to use photos. Now, handy tip here is to know how to use a screenshot option. Very often we want to show processes or give instructions on things that we found, let's say, on the internet. To do that, you press the power button and the button on the front of your iPad together, and that will always take a screenshot. But I'm using this person again. Now this time I'm given the option to crop and resize. I'm going to click on Done and then press on Done again, and that's actually put an extract from the screen into my Explain Everything slide area. I can get rid of content by pressing on the cross to the left hand side of our screen and then selecting on the content that I want to get rid of and then selecting on the cross there. I've decided I want to keep that, so I've just clicked in the white area. It is possible to do zooms and pans within this, but that starts to get a bit more complicated. The main thing left to show you is that we can arrange slide order. So if I click on the slide to area where the two arrows are, I can actually reverse the order in which those slides will appear by clicking and holding on one slide and moving it up. Those options also give the pop-up there, also allow us to delete or change the background colour of a slide as well. So that's the basics for Explain Everything. The last thing that you'll want to do is make the content available to your students. So I'm going to click on the Home button in the bottom right hand corner and click on Yes. Now I can give my project name. I click on Save. Now this saves the project in the Explain Everything interface. If I click on there again, it does take us back to this screen, but it's always useful to save before we export. Now at the bottom right hand side, I'm going to click on the little video film icon with an upwards pointing arrow. I'm actually going to send this out to my camera roll so it's saved on my iPad, and then you simply let the export process take place without opening up any applications. Once the video is exported, we're given this option, so I'm going to tap on OK on my iPad. I can now go to my camera roll, which is this photo section here, and if we click on videos, we can see that the final video content is on our iPad. So our next stage is to make this accessible to students. This is where the new Magellan app or the VLE will come into their own. So if I go to the Magellan app that hopefully you've already had a look at, and in Magellan I can then choose the area I want to make that file accessible, so I might put that on the student drive. I can then navigate to the relevant folder, so I'm just going to pop down to my department folder, Media Studies. And when we click on Upload and click on Choose Existing from our iPad, we can go to Videos, click on the relevant video. Now this is where my screen recorder misbehaves a little bit, but you'll see that there is a Use icon that you should be able to see on your iPad. And so our video has now uploaded onto the folder I've selected. It goes in with this rather long default name, which we can edit from within Magellan. So I'm going to click on Edit. Select the file and click on Rename. I can now delete all that content and give that any name that I want to. And we're done. So, hopefully that helps you make a video and make that accessible to students.